The morning sun had just begun to rise, painting the quiet roadside diner in a soft, golden glow. Steam curled up from steaming mugs of coffee. The hum of idling engines filled the crisp air, blending with the heavy scent of fuel, bacon, and leather that surrounded the Hells Angels bikers gathered for breakfast. They looked intimidating, the kind of men people instinctively crossed the street to avoid. But beneath those worn leather vests were stories few had ever dared to ask about. Their laughter echoed against the polished chrome of their motorcycles, until a sudden, piercing scream tore through the calm morning. Every head turned. A small figure in a red dress came sprinting across the parking lot, her boots skidding slightly on the cold pavement, her messy light brown hair flying behind her. Her face was streaked with tears and grime, her voice cracking with sheer panic. "Please," she cried, pointing back toward the road. "They're hurting my mama. Please, somebody help her." The group froze. The raw sound of her sobs was so powerful that even the steady rumble of engines seemed to quiet. A few truckers near the gas pumps looked over, uncertain, but no one moved, except for one man. If you believe in kindness, in redemption, in those rare souls who still stand up when the world turns its back, then please take a second to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, because what happened next might just restore your faith in humanity. The man who stepped forward was Jack Rivers, a broad-shouldered biker in his late 30s, his jacket bearing the red and white insignia of the Hells Angels. He'd witnessed plenty in life, fights, betrayals, blood, but never a sight like this. Dropping to one knee, he steadied the girl's trembling hands. "Where's your mama?" he asked softly, his gravelly voice gentle despite its weight. The little girl struggled to get the words out between sobs, pointing again down the Tulane road toward a cluster of worn-out trailers half hidden by trees. "They're beating her," she whimpered. "Please help her." Without hesitation, Jack stood up, his expression turning to stone. "Diesel, Blaze, with me," he barked. Two of his brothers immediately followed. In seconds, their Harleys roared to life, engines thundering as they tore down the road. Dust swirled around the diner, leaving everyone in stunned silence. One of the bikers carried the little girl inside, wrapping her in a leather jacket to keep her warm. She sat by the window, eyes wide, watching as the red tail lights faded into the distance. The road fell quiet for almost 5 minutes. Then faintly, the sound of chaos rolled back, shouting, a woman's scream, and the roar of engines breaking through violence. Jack and his crew had found the trailer. What they saw inside would never leave them. A drunken man, enraged and staggering, had cornered a woman against the wall. His fists were bloodied, his voice slurred with rage. A crack in the window let in a thin blade of sunlight that fell across the woman's swollen, terrified face. Before he could strike again, the sound of heavy boots hit the floorboards. Jack seized his wrist mid-swing, twisting hard until the bottle slipped from his grip and shattered across the floor. The other bikers pinned him down effortlessly. No words, just action. Jack turned toward the woman, his voice trembling with restrained fury but softened by concern. "You okay, ma'am?" he asked quietly. She nodded weakly, tears streaming down her cheeks. Outside, faint sirens began to wail. Someone must have called the cops. When they arrived, the bikers didn't run. They stood calmly in the yard, hands raised, while the little girl clung tightly to Jack's leg. The woman, whose name was Maria, stepped forward to explain. The attacker was her ex-boyfriend, just out of jail, who had tracked her down that morning. When officers finally led him away in handcuffs, Jack crouched beside the girl, whose name was Lily. "You did good, kid," he said softly. "You were brave." They rode back to the diner together. Lily sat on his lap, clutching a helmet far too big for her tiny head as the sun climbed higher over the horizon. By the time they returned, a small crowd had gathered. Truckers, travelers, locals, all waiting anxiously to hear what had happened. When they saw Jack carrying the little girl safely, with her mother limping behind, bruised but alive, silence swept through the crowd. Maria's voice trembled as she thanked the bikers again and again. "I didn't think anyone would come," she whispered. Jack glanced at her, nodding toward Lily. "She made sure we did." The girl's cheeks were still red from crying, but now there was the faintest trace of relief. The diner's owner brought out blankets and hot coffee. One by one, the Hells Angels took off their jackets and draped them over Maria and Lily. a gesture so unexpected that even the police standing nearby looked away in quiet respect. As Jack leaned down, the patch on his vest caught the light. "You take care of your mama now, all right?" he said softly. "You're her little guardian angel." Lily nodded, clutching the edge of his sleeve. Word of what happened spread fast. By midday, half the town knew the story. The little girl who ran to the bikers, and the Hells Angels who didn't hesitate. Strangers began stopping by the diner to shake their hands and thank them for doing what others wouldn't. Jack wasn't a man of many words, but when someone asked why they'd stepped in, he simply replied, "You don't ignore a cry like that. Doesn't matter what patch you wear. Some things are just human." Over the next few weeks, Maria and Lily slowly began to rebuild their lives. The local community came together, donating furniture, groceries, even helping them find a small apartment in town. And every Sunday, a group of bikers could be seen parked outside, checking in, bringing supplies, or just sitting quietly at a diner table, the sound of a child's laughter drifting around them. Months later, when spring returned and the frost was gone, Lily drew a picture with crayons, a row of motorcycles, a little girl in red, and a man kneeling beside her. She ran up to Jack outside the diner and handed it to him proudly. "This is us," she said. Jack stared at the drawing for a long moment before folding it carefully and tucking it into his vest. "That's coming with me wherever I ride," he told her. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Because sometimes, the toughest hearts hide the deepest kindness. And before you go, tell us in the comments, what would you have done if you were one of those bikers?